Now then, you lovely lot, we're back here talking about Daniel Farke's press conference. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. I've picked out certain points in the press conference of which I've watched and enjoyed, so you don't have to. We're going to get into it. Guys, there are a few bits. I felt this was quite an interesting, probably Farke's most interesting press conference, if I'm honest with you. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know in the comment section below, and we'll get into it. I want to point you guys as well to a really brilliant short that John McKenzie, formerly of All Stats Aren't We, a brilliant Leeds United podcast in the Leeds space, in my opinion, should be more sort of known than it is. But John was, I think, the founder of All Stats Aren't We. He now works for The Athletic with Darren Cross, and he did a piece this morning, basically talking through the data and saying where Leeds United have effectively dramatically dropped off.
Leeds started the season well, but they've just dropped into the relegation zone for the first time. So what's gone wrong? Well, during the summer, their recruitment was focused on bringing in large physical profiles, with 6 of their 10 signings clocking in over 6 foot, after research carried out by the club's data department showed how important physicality is for Premier League survival. And at first this strategy worked, and was best seen in games where they used Dominic Calvert-Lewin's aerial strength and back-to-goal play to flick the ball on for runners in behind, or knock it down for the Leeds midfielders to challenge for second balls. But as the season has progressed, Daniel Farke has seemingly become more reluctant to play this way, with the data suggesting that his team are shifting towards a more patient approach to ball progression. But with the Leeds squad not built with this more technical approach in mind, the results have not been promising. And so it seems that by adopting a style of play that doesn't suit the squad he has, Farke has undone much of the good work his team put in earlier in the season. Read Berren's piece for the full story.
We had less of the ball earlier on in the season, and we're playing a more fast, direct approach, of which was getting Leeds the results. And now all of a sudden, when we've dipped into this possession-heavy, slow, lethargic style of football, building out from the back, we are now turning into a very predictable side. The data backed it all out. You'll see this on my Twitter, guys. Go search that. That's Conor McGilligan on Twitter. Have a watch of that. And it's brilliant as well, because Berren was kind of pushing Farke on some of the bits today, but John was going through it all. And it's really good to see a proper publication and putting it out there as well, and actually just backing it up with the data, which we've seen already with the likes of Opta and many other publication XG stats. Leeds United are on a downward spiral when it comes to the style of football that we should be playing, and now we are not playing, of which if you to play this style of football that we want to play with Daniel Farke in terms of slow, heavy possession, build out from the back, Leeds are going to go down because we're not good enough, and teams are going to turn over that ball higher up the pitch, as we know. I've tried on one Leeds, and the videos around this, around the last 2 weeks, really, the last 2 or 3 weeks have been very, very in and around Daniel Farke. But don't ever miss the fact that it's been on the 49ers as well, because they are the primary issue right now for me. The primary issue right now. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But the reason a lot of it has been on Farke is because I'm trying to figure out solutions. What can Daniel Farke do? Don't miss that. We've spoken about what Daniel Farke can do. But if Daniel Farke is relieved of his duties, which I think he should be, where can Leeds go? How can we make the best out of the squad? So it's all solution-based. What I would say is it's not negative. It's not pessimistic. I am trying to figure out how Leeds United right now can get the best of what we have. The best of what we have right now, I think we can get the best out of it in terms of profiles, output, outcome without Daniel Farke. Ultimately, that is my perspective. I think there's better coaches out there at Premier League level than Daniel Farke. And do I think he'd be able to improve the nucleus of this team and the rest of this team when it comes to individuals, a man coming in, dependent on who that is, by the way, dependent on who that is. I'm not liking some of the names that we're being linked with, but dependent on who that is, I think a manager comes in and does that. I want the betterment of my football club. Daniel Farke is a person who is in charge of my football club. The new man will be a person who is in charge of my football club. Ultimately, I want Leeds United to remain in the Premier League because we are a Premier League football club. We are a absolute mark in the English Premier League, and we should be up here. We should be up here. And this is where I'm at right now. And this is kind of where I feel motivated a lot of the time. I've felt apathy, but I feel motivated to try find solution for my community and try really delve into it. And I think it's been really important. So let's get into what he said anyway. So he said the objective data says we were the better side, but without points. This is kind of classic Farke logic. He said, you know, if we were better in 6 games, if you look at the data, but it's performances and there's zero reward for it. There's a certain American who used to talk like this all the time. A certain American who, including me towards the end, let's be transparent, but towards the end when you were listening to Mr. Jesse Marsh, you were getting largely frustrated with what he was talking about because all of it was data. All of it was, we should be here, but we're not. This is where we're going now. This is where we're going now. We can't change the narrative and the difference between these two and the vernacular that are coming out the mouths right now, because it's very, very similar. He also mentioned Leverkusen. We go long, lose the ball, waste time, 20% possession. We'll crack under pressure, need periods to keep the ball. We will go long when it suits us, need a striker to hold the ball. If direct is only plan, we'll not stay. Well, you got a striker who can hold the ball, Daniel. You've got two strikers who can hold the ball. We've seen that already this season. But if you don't play to the strengths... if you don't play to the strengths, if you don't play to them, we're not asking you to go long ball from minute one, and that's constant. And you know that. You know that is not what people are asking you to do. It's picking specific moments. It's going short at points. Of course it is. And it is having possession of the football. But it's finding the right moments of which we maybe utilize a crossfield ball, which we don't do. It's working off that front man, of which we don't do, which is then represented by the amount of times the strikers have in terms of touches in the opposition boxes, which is nil point. It's nothing. So we are not doing this per game, and the data backs that up. So you can't blame the striker. You have to blame the style of play, because you are not getting the striker in to the style of play. It doesn't make sense. He said it's not enjoyable because there's a lot of stake. Did not deserve to lose to Villa. Performance really good in many aspects, but if you don't win, it's hard to win the momentum back. We are competitive. It's nice to have challenges like this versus Pep. And I agree with him to a certain extent. We were good against Villa. But like is the blueprint with Daniel Farke, this team shows that it is competitive with certain hallmarks when we do go direct, when we are long, when we are aggressive, when we press. But then we fall off. The substitutions in the second half represent poor management during a game. Changes that are made are way too late when our team is fatigued, especially up top, which we could all see post 58 minutes. Did we deserve to lose the game? Well, in that second half, there was only going to be one team winning it, and that can be changed by managers. We look at our bench in that second half, and we have players who can influence the game to a certain level in terms of structure, in terms of shape. You can go to a back three with certain personnel on the bench. You can put James on and Nonto on a little bit earlier, DCL on a little bit earlier, in a front two with Metra, Peru and Metra up top maybe. There's things that you can at least try. That's what can happen. It can't just be this white flag sort of flying high and then us just go, no, well, he's the manager. He knows more than we will ever know. There's got to be some sort of critical notion towards this, and subs win games. And if they're made at the right points at the Premier League, Leeds will get something. We're competitive, but it's the management, it's the man management, it's the predictability, it's all of these things that we know. But, yeah, well, okay, you played well in the first half, but once again, we dropped off again, like we've seen so many times this season, which is your fault. He then said as well, not to dwell under pressure. It's more Aronson, when he was asked about him, deals with this in a proper way. But he's had sticks since first day, work together, win together, lose together, never finger point. Does not mean he plays every game. He will play 390 minutes next week. This is the difficult thing with it. Like on the left side, of which we know there's been a problem recently, the left side, literally his last press conference, he's pointing his finger at that left-hand side when he's asked about goals coming down that side, which we all know is referring to Gabby Goodmanson and probably Noah Okafor. We've seen finger pointing with Daniel Farke before as well. I'm not going to go into detail of who that's been over the past however many years, but we know who they've been at. But when he says stuff like work together, win together, lose together, never finger point, there is finger pointing here, and there has been finger pointing at Leeds United. We've all got examples of that, even back in the Championship. He said, not focused on myself. I like the outside noise. It is on me, not on the players. They need a leader, not thinking about themselves. I think about how we stay in this league. That's fair enough. That as well. Did we have to add effectiveness and clinical edge when he was asked about the recruitment? What I work on with the players, improve this over the season. Use January to add a little bit more improved details, using chances, clinical defending, fully convinced this group can improve. But it's good after, because the defense at this moment in time is absolutely lightweight. The good thing is here, the positive thing here is, everybody, he seems to think January we're going to add a little bit more, which to me says that, I mean, look, at this moment in time, I do not trust this ownership whatsoever. Do not trust them whatsoever. And it comes down to January. Use January to add a little bit more. Hopefully that's a sign that they've had discussions about Leeds bringing in new players, or there's been discussions behind the scenes. The difference is you cannot have Daniel Farke in January. You have Daniel Farke in January, we're going down. We are simply going down. You need a coach to come in before that, instill values, ethics, principles, morals of the side, systematic changes, framework, tactical blueprint, and you need that manager to then be able to attract players in January as well, which is going to be huge. Daniel Farke doesn't have that pulling power, especially when Leeds potentially will likely be in 19th place at that point. You need someone who can bridge that gap. And if they don't go out and replace Daniel Farke properly, that is another failure on their remit, another failure on their rap sheet at this moment in time. So, and we're all aware of that. If they go and replace him with a basic appointment of which isn't going to improve Leeds, what's the point? What is the point? You've got to improve him with a real level up, and we all know who some of these people are. So he said, I was aware what happens with such a passionate club. Many doubts during the season. We want to be the first side in 25 years to establish a club in the Premier League. We want to be the first side in 25 years to establish this club in the Premier League. Well, we established ourselves in the Premier League before to a certain level, just that third year, wasn't it? But at least we stayed up for 2 years. He said, when I judge our games, we are in the top 2 with City for physical output, good fitness level and mentality. But yeah, effectively there, he said we've got a better mentality, better physical output than all of the top sides, which I'm not sure the data will back that up now, to be honest with you. But there is a big chasm between us on these sides, which I guess is the biggest problem right now. The goal is to finish 17th. Did not expect easy ride. Had to work limited resources. Even though he had a hand in recruitment, we all know that. He said that. Now, I'm not saying that's all Daniel Farke's fault, but he did have a hand in recruitment. He said challenges in the summer window. Everyone, which he's talking about outside, expected an easy cruise to 9th or 10th. Then he said, I did not expect this. Ups and downs happen to every team over 38 games. I mean, who expected us to finish 9th or 10th? You're just kind of at a point where it's just, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Like nobody, Daniel, we said this last week, but nobody said that we're going to finish 9th or 10th. Nobody said that. Now, I'll give Daniel Farke a little bit of credit with this one to a certain extent. Berens put out the goal is to finish 17th. I heard that a little bit differently with Farke. I think he said above 17th. The goal is to finish above 17th. That's what I heard, but I could be wrong in that. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. He said he's had to work with limited resources, challenges in the summer window, which once again, I can't imagine the players are looking at that fondly. But obviously Farke as well, let's not forget that he did, and he has said this, and we are all aware of this, that he said multiple times that he had a hand in helping recruitment as well, and you can see that with some of the players that we brought in as well. Definitely a Farke hand. Everyone outside expecting an easy cruise to 9th or 10th. I did not expect this. That's what he said. Did you know anyone? Did you read anything that expected an easy cruise to 9th or 10th? Did anyone say that? Nobody said that. I didn't read anything on that. And I think if that was said, you'd have got Leeds fans in the comment section, whether or not it was TalkSport, whether or not it was some betting site. Leeds fans had been in the comment section saying give over, because there was a realism in the window that this was going to be very hard. Then he's spoken as well about Longstaff and Stark. Looks like they're out for the weekend as well, so maybe we'll see Grove in there and all this sort of stuff. Aronson's probably going to start, but yeah, it's not going to be an easy weekend, people. We all know this. City lost midweek, didn't they? But they are going to be a really tough team, especially down there, and especially with the injuries that we have. We're going to leave it there. It's not going to be too detailed. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, everybody. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some spicy comments in the section below. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let us know. See you in a bit.